It's Super Bowl 59, and it's a rerun of Super Bowl 57, Kansas City versus Philadelphia. We'll break down the game and give you our winner picks, analyze the spread, over under, and the money line. We'll also debate pass, rush, and receiving prop bets, as well as our pick for Super Bowl MVP, plus four very exotic prop bets, and it's all coming up next. Hello, everyone. I'm Eric Lay.
And I'm Aaron Dean.
And I'm Michael Wiley, and we're the Fantasy Football Consultants. Guys, so fun to be back together again. Here we are, Super Bowl. Guys, I got to admit it, I'm a little disappointed in who we're seeing here. We've seen this game. I'm sure there's a lot of people in America, other than the Swifties, who are a little bit tired of seeing the Chiefs. I'm an Andy Reid fan. I'm tired of seeing the Chiefs. But hey, these guys both earned it. They earned being here. And let's face it, two really good ball clubs. What do you think is going to happen here, Eric? How are you feeling about the spread?
Well,
Who's going to win this game?
I thought you were going to say we're disappointed because it's not the Seahawks and Raiders. And that was a real possibility in the preseason. And then they played football. All right. So, yeah, what a game. I mean, this is another game, and I don't want to jinx myself, but you guys can go back, look at the previous videos. There are 4 straight seasons why I have correctly picked the Super Bowl winner and the spread. So it's a little pressure on me, but it actually isn't a lot of pressure. I really feel good about this pick. I said for a long time that I think all the talent is in the AFC. The best teams are in the AFC. So although Philadelphia, I think if you look at the numbers, may look a little bit more impressive, but they beat Green Bay, the Rams, and Washington. They don't measure up against Houston and especially Buffalo. And this Kansas City team, people can complain and say they just don't win by enough. Here's the bottom line. They're 17-1. I know they lost the last game of the season, but I'm not even counting that because those were all backups. The real Chiefs were 17-1 in this season and playing a really tough competition. And I only have to give up 1.5 point on the spread. I'm not doing the money line. I will pick the Chiefs and I'll give the 1.5 points.
Aaron, what do you
Ye-
think?
Yeah, Eric, that's a very safe bet. You just can't beat the Chiefs when they are either the favorite or the dog and under 3 points. They're nearly undefeated in both scenarios, and any big game where you give Andy Reid a bye week, I mean, he's notorious for a coach who comes off a bye week. The guy never loses, ever. And this is at 1.5. It's basically a pick 'em. And I just you can't. The Chiefs have the best quarterback, they have the best coach, and they always have the best referee. So at the end of the day, you're just not gonna win if you're gonna pick the Eagles. You got to go with the easy money and just lay the points.
And you said it, Aaron. It coaching plays such a big role. And if you really want to look at, as much as let's take the refereeing out of it. Although I think Andy Reid deserves a lot of credit for how the refereeing went in some of these games. Uh, this is really an Andy Reid year, right? Even that last playoff game. I know Josh Allen didn't play great in a lot of ways, but it was really the scheming from the game before where they were, taking advantage of the zone at the Chiefs and getting the ball to Travis Kelce to the game against the Bills where they had to adjust and use their speed like they did so well with Xavier Worthy. And I think the Chiefs can contain, I don't think they'll stop him, but they can contain Saquon Barkley, I think, a lot better than the last two teams that the Eagles did. And that's going to be, I think, what also could keep this over under at below 49, although it's scary. I mean, if Saquon Barkley breaks a run or two, this score is going to go above 49. So I'm afraid of the over under, just to touch on that briefly. So I'm with you guys.
The passing yards prop bets. Aaron, where would you go?
I would go over with Patrick Mahomes on the 251, and the only reason why is because really Andy Reid in some of the big games forgets that they do have a running game, and the running game is actually just Patrick Mahomes. So other than that, he's going to be throwing the ball quite a bit, and they'll probably, I mean, that's the best way I think is to attack this defense is actually in the middle of the field and using Kelsey. I think Kelsey had a big game. And then, if they can pop one over the top to Worthy or Hollywood Brown, it sets up really nice to hit that over 251.
Michael?
Yeah, this one, I think both of these are not fun bets. To me, if the Eagles win this game, or which we don't think they're going to do, or the game is close enough to where the Eagles don't have to throw the ball much, there's no way Jalen Hurts is going to go over 210. But it's possible that somehow the Chiefs get up, a little more than a touchdown, and the Eagles are throwing a little bit late. And then all of a sudden he sneaks over this number. So I don't really like the 210. I certainly don't like the over on it. And Patrick Mahomes, I mean, again, game script. If we think that the Chiefs are gonna, not necessarily dominate this game, but stay ahead or be right there, and he's not gonna have to throw the ball downfield. My guess is he's going to be right around 250 yards. So I think they pegged both of these numbers pretty good. I don't like either one of these bets.
Let's go to something which I actually do have a strong opinion on in the rushing bets. Man, out of all these, it's not close. The one that I like the most is over on rushing yards for Patrick Mahomes at 29 and a half points. So, guys, if you look at his regular season average, he averages way below this number. But so what? Doesn't matter because they use Mahomes in running in games that really count. In the 2025 AFC Championship game against Buffalo, in a game they had to win, he passed the number. The last time in the Super Bowl, he passed this number. The time before that, he passed this number. Over on Pat Mahomes rushing.
Eric, that's the smartest bet on this board. When you look at all of the prop bets that we'll be going over, this is the one that I could feel confident putting my own life at risk on this one. The only way this doesn't go over is if Patrick Mahomes gets knocked out of the game in the first play. I mean, it's a given. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. When it's a big game, Patrick Mahomes not just goes over his rushing total, flies over his rushing total. And it's not even close.
And we saw that even when he was injured just, a couple of years ago in the Super Bowl, right? And that's, he's gonna do what it takes to win. And that's one of the reasons why you bet on that guy. So I mean, let's talk Saquon Barkley for a second. I think the Chiefs are gonna scheme to contain him. So he's probably gonna be 70, 80 yards without popping a run. But he pops a run, he blows this number easy, right? So stay away from it. All right, so here we are with the receiving yard prop bets. We got a couple of options here, guys, and some guys who have had some good weeks during the regular season, but we're going up against some defenses that have been somewhat stingy against passing receivers. I'm looking at this board and a little bit nervous on all of them. I'm going to just quickly go from where I left off on the last one. The Eagles do run a little bit more zone, especially after having watched how the Bills played against the Chiefs and the Chiefs having exploited with their speed. I think that it's going to be scary to not use a little bit of man, with some coverage over the top, which is going to, I think, pay off dividends for Travis Kelce. So the one number on here that kind of pulls an eye out to me is Travis Kelce. Obviously he's been kind of weak most of the season, but in big games and big moments, he seems to come a little bit higher than numbers like this. So he's the one who I look at and say, okay, I think I feel pretty good about him going on the over here.
Michael, I agree with you on the position, but different team. I like Dallas Goedert, who's about 8 yards less to top that number. I'm going to go over on him. He beat this number in the 2023 Super Bowl 2 years ago. He's beat it in 2 of the 3 playoff games this year. And Kansas City has a defense that's 17th against the pass, so middle of the road, but there's in FanDuel scoring, they're second to dead last against tight ends.
Yep.
So the only thing I'm worried about is he's coming off an ankle injury, but I looked at the latest reports and he's not even on the injury, has an injury designation. So as long as that stays the case on game day, I feel good about going over here with Goddard.
I'm gonna saddle up with Michael on this one with Travis Kelce. When you look at the strength of the Philadelphia Eagles, really their defensive line and their corners are their best parts of their defense. And you're just not gonna play corner on Travis Kelce. You're gonna play a corner on Hollywood Brown. You're gonna put a corner, on Xavier Worthy, and you're gonna make sure that those guys don't beat you over the top on easy ones. And I think they're gonna try to make Kansas City just move methodically down the field. And you're going to see Travis Kelce probably have a 10 plus catch day, and it'll be for 7 yards, 8 yards a clip. And he'll get there, but it's just, I think it'll be a little bit of a sweat, but I think he'll get over on this yardage total.
What you're saying, Aaron, is we're going to get a heavy dose of Swift.
Yes.
Shots of Taylor Swift.
For sure. For sure.
Unfortunately,
yes.
All right, Aaron, what do you think about the touchdown scorer? Looking at these prop bets, looking at these lines, who jumps out at you?
Yeah, the two that really jump out to me is Jalen Hurts or Saquon Barkley. I think they both possibly get a score in this game, whether it's the tush push for Jalen Hurts, or just anywhere from an 80 plus yard run, or a 3 yard scamper to the corner of the end zone, and Saquon beats the guys to the corner. So to me, I think those are the best bets.
Yeah, I wish the odds on Kareem Hunt were a little bit better, because I do see Kansas City loving to kind of get those runs when they get down near the goal line. But who knows? Maybe it'll be Isaiah Pacheco, because they just love to throw stuff out there different. I think Kareem Hunt's going to be their guy, but they'll probably throw Isaiah out there a little bit early on just to kind of mix it up. But the odds aren't good enough. So I'm with you guys, or with you, Aaron. I feel like it's one of these Eagles players that's certainly going to get in the end zone, if not both of them. But I don't like the odds on Saquon, so I'm not sure about it.
So I gotta say, guys, we've gone this far before we can actually have a real disagreement. So let's have the disagreement. Sure, Barkley and Hurts are the most likely, but look at their odds, and they cancel each other out. It feels like if I have Hurts, guess what's gonna happen? Or if I have Barkley, guess who's gonna be doing the tush push? If either of them had gotten hurt, I would be feeling really good about the other person with this prop bet. And you started off so good, Michael. I was really with you, because my guy is Kareem Hunt at much better odds at plus 135. Look, he scored in the last 4 games. All of the last 4 games, he has scored. Yes, Pacheco's in the lineup, but this is Kareem Hunt, and certainly when they get to the goal line, they like to go with him. He out-touched Pacheco 18-7 in the all-important game against Buffalo. Is it automatic? No, it's not. This is not one of my favorite picks, but it's my favorite pick on this slide.
Okay.
Fair.
All right. Now, here's the big one. Look at this. Look at this. Well, so I'm going to just say the obvious. We've said it before. All of us agree that we think Kansas City is going to win. And there is an extremely high likelihood that the quarterback wins it. And when that quarterback is Patrick Mahomes, it's really likely. It's just the odds are not that great. I have a out there pick, but yeah, if I have to pick the safe route, even though you get terrible odds for MVP, is Pat Mahomes.
Yeah, if the Chiefs win this game, it's Pat Mahomes, even if he's out halftime. I mean, let's face it, he's the poster child for the NFL right now. So, and we'll probably see 27 commercials with him in them as well this over the Super Bowl. So I think that's the easy pick. You could pick him plus one of Barkley or Hurts, but then all of a sudden the other one, if the Eagles win, ends up getting it somehow. I think Hurts wins it. It is unless Barkley goes for 150 and that's the reason why the Eagles win. But I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think if the Eagles somehow win this game, it's going to be because they end up having to throw at the end of the game, and Hurts, ends up getting a touchdown with only 3 seconds left, and it's not enough.
So, Michael, considering these odds, what's your pick?
I mean, Patrick Mahomes for sure.
Still, even though it's only plus 105.
Yeah.
Okay.
Double my money.
Aaron?
Yeah, if I got $100, I'm putting it on Saquon Barkley. And the only reason being is that if the Eagles do win the game, I think it is because of Saquon Barkley. And somehow he's able to control the game with his legs, maybe breaks off one or two big ones, and is the kind of the story of the game. I don't think Jalen Hurts is going to beat anybody with his arm. And I don't. I just don't. But I mean, it's going to be Patrick Mahomes that wins this dumb award because the Chiefs are going to win the game. So I mean, at the end of the day, but if I'm going to bet, and I'm just going to throw a bet out there, I'm going to go with a little better odd. I'm going to take Saquon Barkley.
A flyer pick? I can't believe Kareem Hunt is 50-1. I like Kansas City winning, and I just don't like anyone who's a pass catching option for him. Because I think they're just going to give it to Mahomes. If Worthy catches a couple of touchdown passes from Mahomes, they'll still give it to Mahomes. But if Kareem Hunt happens to have a 2 or 3 TD game, it's possible he can get it, and you get 50-1 for him.
Yeah, it's good.
All right, folks. It isn't a fantasy football consultant's Super Bowl show without getting a little bit in the ridiculous. Let's just talk a little bit about some crazy prop bets. We're going to take them one at a time, and I want to go to my resident relationship expert, Aaron Dean. Last year, you broke it down for us. You said you didn't even think this relationship was going to last. We're a year later. Okay, what do you think? Now, I will set you up. This was a 14-1 shot.
Yeah.
Last year. Now it's only 5-1 if you're going to say he proposes to Taylor Swift. What do you think? If you had to bet on that prop bet, which way would you go?
0 chance. 0 chance. He is. I still am not a believer in this relationship, Eric. No, I mean, who knows? Maybe they found true love, but that just doesn't strike me as a place that Kelsey would propose. If anything, he probably proposed to her on his freaking podcast.
Okay, but Aaron, let me fight you on this now. Aaron, we think Kansas City is going to win the game, right?
Yep.
And we think Kelsey will probably be a big part of that, right?
Yep.
And he'll probably be featured in the post-game area, right? And Taylor Swift will be right there, right?
Yeah. Okay, so is Kelsey retiring? Because then maybe this happens. But if he's not going to retire, 0 chances this happens.
So you guys are going to bet $950 to win just 100.
No, that's a dumb bet. I wouldn't take the bet at all.
What? Okay,
yeah. Bet either way. There's a reason why this spread is so wide.
No doubt.
Getting even more ridiculous. Will a player or coach cry during the national anthem? Now, before you guys answer, the last time Philadelphia was in, Coach Nick Sirianni cried during the national anthem. Chris Jones at a previous Super Bowl cried
last week.
He cried last week?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. So what are you thinking?
Yeah, Who's singing the national anthem?
Oh, that does impact.
That could be a big deal. That could be the That could be the tiebreaker here.
You
If
should
it's,
look it up. I'll look it up. You guys go to the next question.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I just wouldn't. My instinct is to say that these are two teams where most of the players are already been there.
It's
All right.
John Batiste.
oh, there's zero chance.
It just went down.
For sure.
So you're going. Wait, what are you going, Aaron?
No, I'm betting 285. I'm putting $100 to win $285.
That's how I started. But Michael, you convinced me with all these different people who I just need one of them. So I'm gonna go yes, and I know it's a lousy bet. I have to bet 430 to win 100, but that's what I'm doing. Michael, break the tie.
When I saw John Batiste, it kind of took my comfort down. But I think Chris Jones is a crybaby. I think you'll see him cry. So we'll see it.
That's funny.
All right.
Try telling that to his face.
Now I am not going to reveal my answer. I'll let you guys answer, but I will just say this next one is my favorite one to bet on of the ones on this slide. Will Taylor Swift be shown
during the national anthem? I don't know. Based on the fact that it's John Batiste, I think maybe not. So I think we're gonna be spared a viewing of Taylor Swift during the national anthem.
Yeah, we'll get
Aaron. I'm going to let you break the tie. So I'm going to say against what Michael said. I think we definitely get a Taylor Swift sighting during the national anthem. This is why half the people are tuning into the Super Bowl.
It's quite possible, Aaron, that you and I are not, as up to date as Eric is on the Taylor Swift news. So I mean, hey, maybe Eric knows something we don't.
Eric's listening to all those pop culture podcasts, apparently.
It is obvious to me that you two aren't too Swift. All right, let's move on to the last prop bet. It is, will a player become an octopus in the game? If you're not familiar with this term, if you can score 8 points, which means if you run or receive a touchdown pass, and then the team decides to go for 2, and you run or receive a touchdown pass. The nice thing about this is you get any player who does it during the game. Just for reference, so people know, this happened 9 times in the entire regular season. So this is not obviously a common event. But guess who did that one of those 9 times? Saquon Barkley. So, and he's obviously a player. And here's the big news. Las Vegas did get a $50,000 bet for no on this. So interesting enough. Aaron, what do you think?
Yeah, I think, to be honest with you, I think it may happen this Super Bowl. And the reason being is because you just mentioned one, Saquon Barkley. He can catch it, he can run it in. But also the other player on that same team is Jalen Hurts. He gets one in, whether he runs one in, and then say they go to kick the extra point, right? And somebody jumps off sides or there's a penalty, right? And then they mark it at the 1.5, or the 1 yard line, right? Or they got to go for 2. And you see what happened last week where the Washington Commanders kept jumping, and then basically became like a 1-inch tush-push sneak.
So you're betting yes?
I am betting yes. If I had to bet, I'd bet yes.
I can't believe how much time we just spent on this one, but I guess what I would say is, I definitely wouldn't bet the no. I mean, to bet 3,000 to make 100 just does not make mathematical sense when 9 times it's happened during the regular season. So I guess I would, if I had to pick one, I had to put my life on it. I guess I would unfortunately pick yes. But man.
Yeah, the problem is the decision to go to 2. Just like how many times will that even happen in this game? going for 2, and that's the trick. As always, guys, so fun to break down this Super Bowl. I wanted to thank you guys again for a terrific year, and I want to thank our audience. So we really appreciate your guys' support. We will be back next year, early in the season. The format may be a little bit different, but we'll tell you all about it at the beginning of the season. Michael, final thoughts?
Oh, hey, I'm with you. I really want to just thank our, our I guess I'll call them our fans, our viewers for hanging with us, and hopefully you guys have an enjoyable Super Bowl party. And we'll see you next year.